Good day viewers, welcome to another edition of the Daily Strange Stories. I'm John Brown. I hope your week is progressing smoothly and you're tackling your goals head-on. Our lead story for today. Cat Matlala in another corruption and fraud scandal, new IPID report confirms what General Mkhwanazi told Madlanga Commission. This is how Cat Matlala has been using his dirty money to rule South Africa. In the bustling world of corruption and scandals, where deals often blur the lines between public duty and private gain, a very controversial businessman named Vusimuzi Cat Matlala has once again found himself at the center of serious allegations. A recent report from the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, known as IPID, has brought to light details that echo statements made by General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi last week during his testimony at the Madlanga Commission. This document, kept confidential until now, paints a picture of schemes involving city vehicles, improper registrations, and benefits flowing to Matlala's private company, all while raising questions about oversight in municipal operations. Dated August 1, 2023, and linked to a case in Boksburg, the report dives deep into how vehicles meant for public use ended up under private control, confirming much of what the General described in his recent appearance before the Commission. It was in early 2023 when questions first arose about the relationship between Matlala's security firm, Cat VIP, and the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department, or EMPD. Media inquiries prompted a closer look, revealing that between January 18 and January 24 of that year, these four vehicles were registered under the city of Ekurhuleni's fleet. The city even paid 2,218 rand for their initial licensing and registration fees. Yet, by March, records on the National Traffic Information System showed a sudden change. Ownership had shifted to Cat VIP, Matlala's company, without any clear trail of approval or delivery to the municipality. Investigators found that the vehicles never actually reached the city's hands, leaving the expenses hanging as an unexplained loss to public funds. At the heart of this transfer was Matlala himself, who, according to the IPID findings, directed the city's fleet manager to handle the registrations in a way that bypassed standard rules. The report highlights that no formal agreement, such as a memorandum of understanding, existed between Cat VIP and the EMPD. Searches through department archives turned up nothing to support claims of any official partnership. This absence meant that references to such an agreement in discussions were likely misleading, allowing the vehicles to be rerouted for private benefit. The IPID team concluded that these actions pointed to deliberate misrepresentation, where Matlala positioned himself and his company to gain from city resources without proper authorization. General Mkhwanazi, in his testimony at the Madlanga Commission, which is probing corruption and outside influences within the South African Police Service, described a similar pattern. He explained that Matlala had received undue privileges from law enforcement, including access to municipal vehicles that were not only registered fraudulently but also fitted with blue lights reserved for official use. These lights, meant only for entities like the police, metro departments, traffic officers, or military units, appeared on 4 or 5 of Matlala's personal cars, all registered as if they belonged to the Ekurhuleni municipality. The General noted that this was facilitated by Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi, who held a senior role in the EMPD at the time, acting as Deputy Chief from October 2021 to November 2023.
The Mr. Matlala, Cat Matlala, Vusimuzi Cat Matlala, is one fellow that has been enjoying too much privilege from the law enforcement. And the typical example is that one of, or at least few of his vehicles, not talking about the number, but it's a couple of them, 4 or 5, the number will be confirmed through the report. His personal vehicles were registered by the Deputy Chief of Police at Ekurhuleni, that is Major General Mkhwanazi. He facilitated the registration of these Mr. Matlala's vehicles under the municipality as if they are municipality official vehicles, utilizing the funds from the municipality of Ekurhuleni. So the vehicles then belong on record, when you test them on the system, you they reflect as if they belong to municipality. It did not end there, commissioners. He took these vehicles and he caused the municipality to take the blue lights that belongs to municipality. The blue lights are supposed to be for the law enforcement vehicles within municipality. And he fitted those blue lights in these vehicles. And these vehicles were then given to Mr. Cat Matlala. I must indicate, in terms of the Traffic Act, the only authorized bodies to be able to drive with blue light on the streets are law enforcement, which will include SAPS, the Metro Police, Traffic Police, as well as the military police of the defense. They are the only one authorized by law to make use of these blue lights. And even the utilization of the blue light is somehow regulated, that you cannot just willy-nilly use a blue light. So it's an emergency light, it's a warning light. But this was not only done by Matlala privately to the service provider, but it was done by law enforcement of Ekurhuleni. And to confirm this, there is a report that is available, because this complaint comes from the chief of this municipality. When he registered the complaint against this, told, according to his words, he was suspended because the principal at municipality did not want him to pursue this investigation against his junior. So he provided this information and he brought this to the attention of his executive in municipality, city manager. It will appear that not much was done to the person that was responsible for this, despite the fact that the law was broken.
It indeed revealed that there was some malfeasance that had happened. That malfeasance was orchestrated through an alleged donation that Cat Matlala's company, Cat's VIP Services, had made to the municipality. Now, that donation actually had not actually transpired. There was no handover of the vehicles to the municipality. There was never a process where indeed these vehicles became part of the asset register of the municipality. But what happened is, all of a sudden, we had a concocted donation letter, which was used as a basis upon which these vehicles were registered under the municipality. The investigation then proved that that did not happen. There was no handover of the vehicles. There was no actual donation. But the vehicles were registered under the municipality. But when we continued the investigation, the vehicles were then re-registered back into Cat Matlala's company. So then we took a decision that we suspended the then Director Specialized Services, Mr. Julius Mkhwanazi. And then we conducted the investigation. We then took a decision, appointed a law firm to prosecute him. Charges were drafted. And then when we were supposed to serve the charges, we were blocked from serving the charges.
Just quickly before we move on from this, how many cars were registered and the make of cars as well?
There were 4 cars that were registered. There was a BMW X5, there was a Mercedes-Benz C-Class, and another BMW 3 Series, and a VW Golf GTI.
And all these cars belong to Cat Matlala's company?
They belonged to Cat Security Services.
Okay.
What happens whenever we've got an investigation that must be conducted that involves a Metro Police official, we have a dual process. There's an internal affairs investigation, but there's also an IPID investigation. So IPID was conducting several investigations, for that matter, into the activities of Mr. Julius Mkhwanazi. But these vehicles were also part of that investigation by IPID. And indeed, IPID concluded their investigation.
What was the outcome?
The outcome was that IPID found that there was a wrongful behavior, acts that required the municipality to take action, whilst IPID would also conduct its own processes in terms of the NPA. What happened is, when the lawyers submitted the charge sheet to me, I caused my manager, one of my officials who actually deals with the processes of serving charges on employees. I mean, this is a normal process for us. So this official then contacted the Mr. Mkhwanazi, Julius Mkhwanazi, who then contacted the city manager, Dr. Imogen Mashazi, and then an instruction was issued to HR the head of department, Linda Klashega, to stop the serving of the charges. So in essence, Mkhwanazi then was never charged. We had a charge sheet, we still have the charge sheet, but the powers that be said, no, we are not going to proceed.
And what about the then mayor, the council? Did they try to do something to ensure that they implement this report?
No. There was nothing that was done to implement the report. The report was never escalated. The internal report was never escalated to that level. I'm aware that the IPID report was then served on the mayor.
Who was the mayor then?
The mayor that was given the report was Ngondwane, the one that Sivuyile Ngondwane. He was given the report, and then the report was then given to the legal department of the municipality, who wrote a very, very funny letter to IPID in an attempt to cover up this process. I was removed. All sorts of stories were cooked up about me.
On what basis?
Well, there was an allegation that I did not have qualifications.
Do you have qualifications?
I do have qualifications.
Where are they?
I've got them here. I've got my qualifications, I've got my matric, I've got my BE Juris, I've got my advanced labor law certificate from UNISA.
So did you challenge this when that came about?
I'm in a process as we speak. That process has been ongoing since 2023. The municipality has delayed the arbitrations that have taken place, both for my suspension and my dismissal. They've used about 9 law firms in trying to deal with me.
However, the report stresses that such officials lack the authority to enter into external agreements. That power rests with the city manager, involving multiple approval stages. The IPID document recommends steps against the acting EMPD chief for breaching disciplinary guidelines, and it has forwarded the case to the Director of Public Prosecutions for further action. City officials, when approached, confirmed they are reviewing the matter internally and working with authorities, though they hold off on full comments due to the ongoing Madlanga Commission. IPID representatives similarly direct attention to the Commission's work, established by President Cyril Ramaphosa to examine police services and potential political meddling. This vehicle scandal is just one thread in a larger tapestry surrounding Matlala, a businessman known for his involvement in high-value tenders and security operations. His name has surfaced in connection with other irregularities, including while he was detained. During his time at a correctional facility, authorities discovered a cell phone in his possession, an item not permitted under the rules. This device was recovered after concerns were raised publicly, with the National Commissioner of Correctional Services stepping in to ensure a trusted team retrieved it. Analysis showed the phone had been used around the time of a key police briefing, containing contacts that suggested links to outside figures, including one labeled as an operator thought to be a police officer, and attempts at communication from individuals tied to broader allegations of influence within law enforcement. Matlala's legal troubles extend beyond these privileges. He faces charges related to an incident in October 2023, where his former girlfriend, Tebogo Thobejane, and 2 friends were targeted in a shooting in Bryanston. Thobejane suffered an injury to her foot, while one friend endured a severe spinal wound that required months of hospital care, and the other was also caught in the event. Matlala, along with his wife Tsagani, alleged associates Musagegana, Tleko Floyd Mabusela, and Mabusela's daughter Ntabiseng Nzama, stand accused in this matter. Financial records show transfers of 100,000 rand to Nzama's account and 50,000 rand to Mabusela's on the day of the incident, which Matlala claims were for legitimate medical and funeral costs, though investigators question the timing and note that supporting documents appear backdated. Firearms seized during investigations have added layers to the case. An AK-47 and 2 pistols linked to Matlala and his associates have been connected to 18 separate incidents of murder and attempted murder. Police spokespeople indicate that while details are not yet public, these weapons tie into high-profile cases, and more charges could follow as connections are solidified. Experts from the Institute of Security Studies emphasize that such ballistic links create a strong presumption of involvement, but additional evidence is needed to build full cases. Some dockets related to these matters, like those involving a taxi boss named Joe Sibanyoni and DJ Seunki Mogubung, known as DJ Vettys, had gone missing, forcing investigators to reconstruct them from scratch. Among the incidents tied to these firearms are several notable deaths. Oba Sefoga, better known as DJ Sumbody, a well-known Pretoria DJ, musician, and club owner, met his end in November 2022 after a performance in Woodmead, in Johannesburg. His vehicle was ambushed nearby, resulting in his death along with bodyguard Sibusiso Mukwena and Sandile Mieza. Another case involves Hector Buthelezi, or DJ Vintos, who was shot in Orlando, Soweto, in March 2022 by individuals in a BMW X3. Businessman Don Tindleni lost his life in March 2023 on the N1 highway near Johannesburg, his BMW 5 Series riddled with bullets. Engineer Armand Swart died in April 2023 in Vereeniging, shot 23 times in what appeared to be a mistaken identity linked to corruption reports at Transnet. Attempted cases include the August 2022 shooting of Joe Sibanyoni, a taxi boss from Mpumalanga, at the Centurion Golf Estate, where a man from a white BMW opened fire. DJ Vettys survived a shooting in January 2024 while heading to a gig, requiring hospitalization. The Thobejane incident itself is part of this web, with her and friends Anele Malinga and Kumbulani Ncube targeted in their BMW. These events highlight a broader pattern in South Africa, particularly in KwaZulu-Natal, which has earned a reputation as a major source of hired assassins. Research from monitors like Mary de Haas points to the taxi industry's deep connections, with its national reach fostering conflicts that spill over provinces. Areas such as Nongoma, Ngwamaphumulo, and certain hostels serve as hiding spots for those involved, remnants of old systems that provide cover. Police leaders, including General Mkhwanazi, have identified the Umzinyathi district as a recruitment ground, where young individuals from challenging family backgrounds are drawn into these networks at an early age. Statistics from organizations like the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime reveal that KwaZulu-Natal accounts for a significant portion of targeted killings, with 173 taxi-related deaths since 2015 out of 521 nationally, and 58 organized crime hits out of 202. The province, along with Gauteng, Western Cape, and Mpumalanga, makes up 83% of serious crimes in the country. High-profile examples include the killing of ANC Youth League figure Sindiso Makaka, where a confessed participant received a 25-year sentence, and links to deaths like Cape Town lawyer Pete Mihalig and Gauteng health official Babita Deokaran. This trend of targeted eliminations has grown alarmingly, doubling over the past decade according to reports like The Business of Killing. Professions such as law, accounting, and insolvency now carry high risks, as seen in the recent killing of attorney Boewer van Niekerk in his Johannesburg office. Van Niekerk had been involved in cases against powerful interests, including Gupta-linked companies, where he pushed back against efforts to undermine business rescues. His death followed threats, and his colleague resigned from a related case involving NTC Global Trade, accused of improper financial dealings. Similar fates befell insolvency practitioner Cloet Murray and his son Thomas in Midrand in March 2023, amid probes into companies like Bosasa and others owing large debts. Auditor Simnigiwe Mapini was killed in December 2023 while examining a 1.8 billion rand tender in Ekurhuleni. Former Eskom CEO Andre de Ruyter survived a poisoning attempt in 2023 after targeting corrupt syndicates, and Rand Water executive Tebogo Thobejane died following a shooting in January 2024 in front of schoolchildren, linked to his procurement role. Even traditional leaders face dangers, with over 60 killed in recent years due to rivalries over resources like mining rights. Activist King Sibiya, who challenged corrupt evictions, survived an attempt in Soweto before passing from natural causes in 2024. The ease of hiring assassins, locally known as Inkabi, sometimes for as little as 2,000 rand in illegal mining areas, underscores how low risks encourage such acts, with sluggish investigations allowing masterminds to evade capture. Matlala's own bail denial on September 17, 2025, in the Alexandra Magistrates Court underscores these concerns. The magistrate cited risks of flight, pointing to an Eswatini identity document under the name Vusimuzi, irregular border crossings, and foreign interests like a trust in Mauritius with a $100,000 investment, plus claims of owning a boat and private jet, which he denies. The cell phone found in prison, active during a critical police announcement, showed contacts that could enable interference, including with witnesses like Thobejane, who fled the country after receiving threats from Matlala's associates. Financial ties to the shooting, including the transfers and the firearms links to 18 cases, strengthened the state's position. Matlala, who won a 360 million rand contract from police health tenders and has connections to former and current police ministers, remains detained, with his case set for October 7. Police continue linking the weapons to more incidents, potentially adding charges for the Sibanyoni and DJ Vettys attempts. As these details unfold, they reveal a system strained by hidden networks, where public resources fund private empires and threats silence opposition. The Madlanga Commission, now underway, aims to untangle these threads, but the full picture may take time to emerge. In a country where such stories multiply, from taxi wars to corporate hits, Matlala's case stands as a stark example of how far-reaching these issues can be. What are your thoughts on the connections between business figures like Cat Matlala and law enforcement privileges? Do you think all these reports and information that is now coming out would have seen the light of the day if it wasn't for General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, who exposed Cat Matlala and corrupt police officials he captured? Thanks for watching this news bulletin. Please share your opinion in the comment section. We would be glad to read and respond to your comments. Let's meet again tomorrow in our next strange story. Wishing you a productive Wednesday.